Hello, my name is Billy Woods. I'm from Portola, California, and I'm 58 years old. And this video is for the HAEA, the Hereditary Angioedema Association. As far back as I can remember, I've been in pain. I was taken to doctors and trying to find out the cause of the pain, and they couldn't find anything. Of course, this was, in the 60s, and they didn't really know about genetics and stuff at that time. So I was told to shut up about my pain, that it wasn't real. I was just lazy, trying to get out of my chores, trying to get out of my schoolwork. I had stomach issues all my life. I didn't know what it was caused from. When I was 35, I found out that my grandmother was lactose intolerant, and she would tell me the way it felt, and well, that's the way my stomach felt. And so I stopped doing dairy. Oh my gosh, my stomach was better for the most part. And focus has always been an issue. I was put on Ritalin at age 10. They were supposed to take me off before puberty. They didn't, and it ended up destroying my nervous system. I always had joint pain all my life. Could never understand why I was in so much pain, and of course I was told everybody's in pain. And so I thought, oh, well, everybody feels like this. I've had limited movement in my shoulders for many, many years. I can't really recall when it started, but it definitely has caused issues. It's been like I've hurt my shoulder. No, I never hurt my shoulder. And it just kind of works there for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden it switches over to the other shoulder, which I know I never hurt that shoulder either. When I say pain, it's everywhere. There's not a place on my body that I can touch that doesn't hurt. The stiffness, just stiffness everywhere. My arms, my shoulders, my legs. When I exercise, people say just keep going, keep going, feel the pain. But my pain never went away. In fact, it made it worse. I tried yoga, but I've never been able to sit. I can't sit down long enough to do yoga. The pain takes over. People say, well, keep trying, the pain will go away. It doesn't. I have a hard time sitting. I walk constantly. If I stop, I go numb in my neck and in my shoulders. If I lay down, it hurts even worse. So basically I have to wait till I'm just super tired. Can just go in and fall asleep within 5 minutes. If I don't, then I don't fall asleep and I have to get up and keep walking. Walking is the only pain management that I have, because sitting is not good for me. Laying down is horrible. Of course, my education suffered because of this, and I was always in trouble. As far as my mind worked, I would get a subject only so far, like math, for example. I was fine until we got to algebra. I kind of understood it a little bit, but the further on we went in it, I just didn't understand it anymore. It didn't make sense to me, and I couldn't make it make sense to me. Trigonometry was just geometry, and these are simple things. When it comes down to it, my mind was just never able to wrap around it and make sense of it. My employment has also suffered. Of course, I can't sit. Lifting causes pain in my shoulders. I ended up working in casinos for a long time because I could actually work 40 minutes on, 20 minutes off behind the tables. And as a pit boss, same thing. I was able to walk around. Any longer than 40 minutes on a table and my body would start hurting. Memory has always been just a little weird. It's like my memory banks in my brain are full. And so anytime I learn something new, I forget something that I had previously learned. So my days are like that, you know. It's like I wake up and can't remember what I was supposed to do on that particular day. Even when I write myself notes, I forget to look at them, or just have so much fatigue and brain fog that I'm just not interested in looking at my notes and realizing the things that I needed to do today. I was in the Marine Corps, and again, I did well up to certain points, and then I just couldn't physically, mentally do it anymore. My body it just never healed. It was, getting sore and sore each and every day. And finally, I was almost at the point of dropping out. I was almost at the point of being discharged. And finally, after basic training, I came home on reserves. And I ended up doing a year there, and then was honorably discharged. I have had to deal with the pain on my own because, of course, I walked away from the medical field because they didn't understand me and wanted to call me crazy and just looking for drugs. And so I have spent a lot of my life using alcohol. I smoked pot since I was 12. Of course, I've done every street drug that I could get my hands on, which only gave me temporary relief. Sometimes it would end up hurting me more. My diet is very peculiar. What I can eat one day will make me sick the next. So there's no way that I can plan what I eat because I never know. Same thing with making plans to go out with friends or to go to jobs. It's something that I have to play out at the spur of the moment, because if I plan something and then I don't feel well the next day when the plans are supposed to happen, I usually cancel and am unable to do it. There have been no treatments. No treatments for me. And even when I have gone back to the doctors, as of last July, complaining of hernia, they would not operate on me, and they just have tried other things, new medicines like gabapentin, which did absolutely nothing at a low dose. They upped the dose, and now it seems to be a little too strong. Puts me to sleep. I've had a lot of depression in my life due to this, and I started trying to take my life at age 12. I failed at it every time, but there have been over 16 attempts that I can remember. I'm pretty sure there's more, but my memory. So this has just been a lifelong mental torture for me, because I tell myself I'm not in pain. I've been very spiritual, and I've been able to control the pain all these years through my mentality, my spirituality. That's been the only way that I've been able to control the pain. This just rules my days. It rules my life. And I'm pretty sick of it. I've still done amazing things, and have had a dang unique and interesting life. And I've experienced things that a lot of people haven't. Pretty much I've taken the scenic route through my life. I've had a lot of trauma and tragedy in my life, and of course, those are triggers. Lost my son in 2012. He was 26 years old, walking home from a party, and was struck by a car and killed instantly. The rest of my family passed away by 2017. I have a sister left and a daughter. And my daughter was the one who actually was diagnosed with hereditary angioedema type 3. I know my son had it. He used to complain to me, "Dad, I'm in so much pain, I don't know why." And of course I didn't either, and so of course I told him what I had been told. Shut up about your pain. Everybody's in pain, son. Pain is how you know you're alive. 2017, I lost my wife, 51 years old. She was in the best shape of her life. She had just dropped 75 pounds. She was looking good. She was happy every single day. She had a stroke. We kept her alive on life support for 2 weeks, and then we had to let her go. She wasn't going to come back. I know that my aunt suffered from this as well. Same thing. Just the muscle pain, just pain everywhere, and in her early 70s, she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which I do believe was a misdiagnosis. I know that my mom was aware of this, as she told my daughter to use coconut oil when her throat would get tight, when her throat would swell, and the coconut oil would keep it from closing off. So I know that my mom was aware of it, but of course we didn't know what it was. I'm sure my granddaughter has it, and I have another brand new granddaughter, and of course we're all worried that she does as well. So when my family doesn't understand, because we didn't understand what it was, I've had to adapt. I had to adapt to special things in my life that I know would cause me less pain. It's taken me many, many years to figure out what those things are, and of course I would do a lot of things just to kill the pain, giving myself 20 minutes of relief and, causing greater pain later. Getting cold. If I get cold, the pain is so much worse. Same thing with getting too hot. I can get in the shower, and after a few minutes I become really fatigued and dizzy, and I just need to sit down. The hot steam, it's all too much for me. This has definitely defined my character. I'm a great guy. I'm a very patient man. I'm a very honest man. And I wasn't always, but again, I've had to adapt and figure out what suits me best. And being honest, including being overly honest and open about most everything. I don't have very many friends, and it's been pretty much a solitude life. My relationship with my wife was the only beautiful thing that kept me going, that made me want to live, and even though the pain never stopped, it was tolerable. And so when my wife passed away, I was left alone in the world, and that was probably the worst thing that could ever happen to me. My skin is very dry, even though I most days drink a gallon of water. I do eat well as far as my stomach can handle. I don't do fast foods. I don't really go out to restaurants because I don't know what's in the food, and being lactose intolerant and beef intolerant, pork intolerant, it's kind of pretty slender and a crapshoot as to what I can eat and feel okay the next day. Even though my skin is dry, I break out. I can't use lotions, dryer sheets, any type of that stuff just makes my skin break out. I'm very sensitive to many foods. I'm sensitive to all medicines, even medicines like losartan. Losartan causes me to break out, and doesn't really help with the blood pressure. So we've had to change up my medication so many times to try and keep the blood pressure down, plus not have it result in nasty side effects. Same thing with medicines. Some work some days, other days they just don't. Pain medicines, a lot of times they do work and give me a few hours of comfort. Other days they don't do anything. My understanding that estrogen is a problem for women who have this disease. I've had a very interesting sexual thing in my life. I have a very overly need for sex. So testosterone is what I believe it is, and I do believe it's HAEA related. There's days when I look fine, like today I look fine. But when I woke up this morning, my ring on my finger was so tight it actually hurt. And that's pretty much how much I swell. I don't really swell big time, I don't have large swells, but I know I do have swells on the inside. I have either quit or failed most things that I've tried to do. It just seems like I can only go so long, and the pain just gets the best of me and I have to quit. This definitely affects my social life. I'm not able to go out when I want, meet up with people, and pretty soon people stop inviting me. I don't like to go away for overnight trips. I'm very uncomfortable staying in a hotel room or in somebody's residence just because I can't sit, I can't stop moving, it drives people nuts. It's very uncomfortable for me, so overnight trips and outings are very miserable for me. My pain got worse when I moved back to my hometown. There was a higher elevation, and I do believe that the pressure, the atmospheric pressure, affects my body, affects my swells, and affects the pain. This has made it very difficult for me to stand on my own 2 feet in life, keep the money flowing good, being successful at anything. And so, of course, my life suffers because of that. I have done physical therapy. I've been to specialists. I've been bone specialists. They don't understand why I have muscle loss, restricted movement, and physical therapy has not helped. However, one day my physical therapist pops my back, and it stopped my attacks. Previous to that, I had been in attacks every single day for over 1.5 years. No matter what I did, I could not get out of pain. So the physical therapist was trying to work with me, and after a while it just became too much. It wasn't helping. It was actually making matters worse. And eventually my back went out again, and the pain started again. So I went up and had some x-rays done, and come to find out I have compression fractures on my spine. That has been a main trigger for me for many, many years. Smart, I'm very creative, intuitive, and fun. I'm happy, very positive. I learned the power of positive thinking when I was 14 years old. I have used it every day. I'm very, very positive. When the pain gets really bad, I like to scream, but I'm still very loving, caring. But every single day that I go through this, it feels like a part of me just gets stripped away. Pain, the loneliness, the misunderstandings. I've been called a liar. I've been called lazy. I've been laughed at. Phony, a fake, and the screaming pain is what I live through every single day. I do have hernia surgery coming up, and they're sending me to UC Davis for it, so that my HAEA specialist, Dr. Tuber, can be there during my surgery just in case. I don't think I'm going to have any problems with it, but of course it is a concern. So finally, they're going to give me surgery on the hernia that I've had for well over 20 years, and they say it's on both sides, so it's going to be a double hernia operation this coming Friday, and I will be so very glad to get rid of these hernias. They've been hindering my life for a long time. I thought that was the main cause of my attacks, but after my back was popped and I had some relief for a couple of weeks, no attacks, I was able to actually go a month learning what my triggers are and not doing my triggers, say like alcohol, dairy, beef, worrying, stress, depression. I've really worked on getting myself out of these things, and I've been the attacks have slowed. Yeah, I still wake up some days and I'm in a full attack. Sometimes I can't even explain it. After many testing, blood work, and stuff, they have ruled out types 1 and types 2. And of course, due to the COVID pandemic, they stopped all the testing for now. And so I'm still undiagnosed. Something that I do for fun. I love nature. I love hiking, but of course I can't hike with the hernia. Don't go far. And so I bought myself an electric bicycle, and it brings me out in nature, up the mountains, and I love it. If I couldn't ride, well, I'm afraid that depression would take over, and I don't want that. So today I'm out for a ride, and I'm going to take you for a ride down the hill, show you what I do. Even though my body's in the shape that it is in, I'm already in pain. So riding doesn't cause me any more pain. It frees my mind, and generally it helps my pain. So hang on, here we go. Well, in a nutshell, that is pretty much my story. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. as I say, I'm a very honest man. I'm very open. And sometimes I forget, being told to shut up about it all these years, I kind of forgot about my pain, So every day I do what I have to do to deal with the pain, but it hasn't been something that, I've been able to put a finger on and a name to. So when my daughter came and told me that she was diagnosed with HAE type 3, it started making sense to me. Why my body acts and reacts the way it does. And so I've been working very hard to keep the attacks down and live life the best I can. And I'm not suicidal these days. I actually am loving life just because I tell my Creator every day how happy I am to be here. A Jedi mind trick for sure, but it seems to be helping a little. So anyways, thank you for watching. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message. I'll leave the links in the description of this video. Thank you, and have a beautiful day.